Yo, what's up guys? We're back at it again with another video. It's going to be a Hunter chapter review. I'll be honest, this one is extremely late, so I am very sorry. It's for chapter 416, which at this point, for me, dropped probably about a week ago. I've been very busy though with work and all my stuff outside of work. All excuses, honestly, but that's why it's coming out this late. The reason I'm getting it out right now though is the new One Piece chapter just dropped, and I will not put out that review before I put out this one. So I've got to put out this HunterXHunter review, roll into the One Piece review, and then I'm going to start on another HunterXHunter review because I think chapter 417, if it's not already out, its scans are probably already out, and so I should be able to do a review on it within the next couple days. 416 was actually a pretty good chapter, guys. It was honestly I was right in my speculation from 415. It is the least dialogue-intensive chapter we have had since this, like, in this batch. So since at least 410. 416 starts with special martial law being declared by Benjamin and his group. And we just begin by seeing most of the civilians and the regular people on the ship. They're all on their hands and knees up against the wall, hands up. Pretty much basic protocol. Make sure you don't get shot in these situations. We then see Benjamin and a couple of his guards who are actually going to be moving between the rooms, going to look for the main princes that he's after, which is second prince Camilla and I think third prince Sir Rydnik are his two main objectives, if I'm not mistaken. Because he's also, I think he's closer to them than most of the other princes, like in terms of actual relative distance, not in terms of like how close they are as people, but in like literal distance. So he wants to take care of them first. And Camilla, he's already, like, I think it was last chapter or the chapter before, he thought about how her ability, Cat's Name, interacts. So he's probably trying to figure out exactly how he's going to combat that. So odds are, I'm thinking he's going to get to her pretty quick. The chapter begins. Benjamin goes ahead and gives us the extra additional information that we already had, telling us that 12 hours from the onset of symptoms from the TSK-17, you die. But the final 2 hours, you'll be in a coma. So really, after you get symptoms, there's 10 hours of you being awake, 2 hours of you being in a coma, you're dead. So Benjamin has 10 hours, roughly, because it's been a little bit of time since he'd noticed the symptoms, but probably less than an hour. So he's got almost 10 hours worth of time with what we need to see Benjamin. He's got to accomplish a lot in 10 hours. And it is 100% confirmed that this is not going to be the same timer to, like, end the Secession War. The odds of the Secession War ending in 10 hours when Benjamin, or 12 hours when Benjamin's body officially dies, very unlikely. I think it was the last chapter or the one before told us there's like 30-some days, I thought it was. Or maybe 20 or 30-some days left in this contest. Which means Benjamin is going to die long before the contest is over. But Benjamin says he has 10 hours to move freely, so he needs to get going. The first thing they do is they go up to Camilla's room. They tell the guards, look, I'll just go ahead and kill you guys right here since it's a special martial law, or you can just put down the weapons and let us in. They very quickly decide they don't want to die and that they're just going to go ahead and let Benjamin and his men in. So Benjamin and his men go ahead and go into the room. He approaches Camilla, and all he really says to her, he just starts out with, don't move, stay where you are, just listen to what I have to tell you. And then right when he says that, she turns and jerks up from her bed where she's getting a massage, laying down, and just starts shooting at Benjamin. Benjamin's raw aura is strong enough to just deflect the bullets off of him. So they're just bouncing right off of him. Benjamin just quickly sprays, takes out both of her maids. Done. They're cooked. Right there. Finished. He then just looks at her without saying a word. She looks back at him without saying anything. And then Benjamin says, I'm well aware of how you're a counteractive type. An ability that activates when you're killed. That's interesting. Camilla begins to kind of tease him and taunt him. Well, then why don't you shoot me? Or that's why you won't shoot me? How pathetic. I mean, since you're so restricted, the most you can do is hide behind your martial law, lock me up, and maybe starve me to death. But she says that essentially because I can wait such a long time, I think it's like weeks, she says she can go, or months without eating. She's not going to die if he just holds her without feeding her. She'll live, and he'll actually die before that. Benjamin is actually pretty smart. But this continues on where she says, where they're going to see who can hang out, who can hold in longer, Cammy or Benjamin dying from a curse. And right at that moment, one of her people, I'm trying to remember exactly what they're called. I'll be honest, I was about to call them the Denied, but that's the group from the new Avatar movie. It was really good, by the way. If you guys haven't seen the Avatar movie, Avatar, Aang the Last Airbender, give it whatever hate we want for it not going to theaters the way it probably should have. It was a really good movie. But anyways, whatever the Have-Nots, I think is what her group is called. I was putting them in the same area as the Denied because it's kind of a similar in a way. Um, but one of her people just approaches. It's the one who has been locked onto Benjamin. We've seen him before where he has been trying to curse. He's been cursing Benjamin every minute he's alive to amplify his curse that will inflict on Benjamin when he kills himself or when he dies. So he then takes a knife, stabs himself in the neck, and then his curse begins to emanate from his body. And it's called Dust in the Wind, Hellfruit. And that curse instantly comes over Benjamin. Now, what's crazy is, while this is happening, we see that it's like Benjamin's eyes almost gain like a Tomoe pattern, like the Sharingan from Naruto. And I already know, you guys all know what the Tomoe and the Sharingan is, so I don't need to explain it. He essentially gets that pattern in his eyes. And what's interesting is that is odds are, I think it was in chapter 410 for the last batch, when Benjamin came in contact with Botabai and one of our other members of the Zodiac. He came in contact with them, and Botabai and the other, I can't remember, it's the cow guy. I can't remember what his name is right off the dome, sorry. They looked at Benjamin and they're like, yo, dude, are you okay? Like, you look like there's something wrong. And we thought it might have been, one of those where maybe he had been taken over by Hawkenberg, or God knows, maybe it was just a TSK-17 was infecting him. And that did come out to be true, that he was infected at that point by TSK-17. But odds are they're noticing this Nin curse. They're seeing this curse on him. You can literally see how it changes, like, his eyes, like his appearance. Anyways, Camilla continues by saying, the killing curse is now complete. I hope you enjoy dying. Let me see. Maswana spent over 10 years wishing for this, and it came to fruition right before your eyes. It worked out perfectly for us. I doubt you'll even last half a day. So shouldn't you be panicking? And then Camila also begins thinking the longest a human can survive without food or water is about 3 days to a week. For me, it's 3 months. By slowing down my metabolism to its absolute limit, I can go into a state of hibernation. Camilla then actually continues to speak and says, if you're not going to shoot me, would you mind leaving? Benjamin just dots, then says to her, suppose that I infected you with a disease. And let's say that it was impossible to cure. And he literally looks like a monster when he's saying this to her. And then we just get straight glances back and forth between them. He says, would I be the one that killed you or the disease? If it was the disease, would the pathogen have enough aura to bring you back to life? And I suppose I was the one who killed you. And suppose I was the one who killed you. And I was infected with the same disease. If I were to die first, then who exactly would your ability kill in order to bring you back to life? And after saying that, Camilla's eyes genuinely seem to get wide with a look of, oh God, he's found out how to work around my ability. I'm in trouble. Benjamin then says, I am not afraid of death. Well, what about you? As he turns and just walks away from Camilla. Because what we actually see, and I didn't already state in the chapter, a second ago, when Benjamin, he stepped towards Camilla. And when he's saying, suppose I was the one who killed you, and I was infected with the same disease. When he's saying that, you see his boot step down, and when he's stepping, it makes like a kind of sound, like a aerosol. And it looks like there's an aerosol shooting up out of the toe of his boot. So what I got out of this, and what the general consensus is that he put the TSK-17 in some way in his boot, in a way, like in some, I don't know, like a modulation, some way that would let it be used by him, like so he could press a button in his shoe, or maybe put pressure on it a certain way, and it would shoot that gas out of his shoe, and then it would infect the people in the room. I don't know if it's just going to infect Camilla, or if it's going to infect his two guards too. For all we know, Benjamin doesn't care. I mean, he's going to get their abilities when they pass on anyways. Right. But after seeing that, we can assume he did just poison Camilla. And so Camilla's done unless she figures out how to use her Nin Beast or finds a way to circumvent this old disease killing her. Don't know if she can do that with her ability. They continue by, the guards say, there is no movement from room 1004. The fourth prince is inside. There are 20 people in the living quarters, including Prince, Royal Army personnel, and among them, it's nearly impossible to tell them apart. Benjamin says, proceed according to protocol. Shoot when you must, shoot who you must. However, leave Saraynik to me. Do not interfere. And then we enter room 1004. Or we approach room 1004, which we're about to enter, which is Saraynik's room. And yeah, I'm a Saridnik guy. I don't know about y'all. I think he's a scumbag as a person. But he is my favorite character that we're following in terms of the princes by a long shot. He's going to be something. I expect a lot out of this character. We get a declaration. Special martial law has been declared. Everyone please remain calm. Follow instructions from the Royal Army. Please respond calmly and follow the instructions. The guard and his current nin teacher, again, can't keep up with all their names. I'm sorry, guys. Forrester Rydnick begins to think, even with the emergency broadcast for special martial law blasting nonstop, he's still not cracking at all in his Zetsu. What is this guy's mental strength made of? And then it's in that instance we see that Saridnik now has a gun behind his back. He then looks over, Saridnik, to his guard and says, hand me your gun. The guy goes, Saridnik says, I'll be using it. He goes, huh, you can't mean on the first prince. And then the guard says, and then Saridnik responds, you, Salkov, isn't it? He says, yes. There's something I need you to do. Yes, anything you ask, says Salkov. Saridnik says, I'm about to die here, but to level with you, it'll be a fake. Even so, tell the others exactly what you saw. Secure the body right away, and don't let anyone see it. My ability must absolutely be kept a secret from everyone else. Got it? And then he closes his eyes and re-enters Zetsu. And then Salkov begins thinking, Saridnik is doing something. It's the illusion he showed to Theta. Saridnik's ability. Yes. Understood. There has to be some kind of condition, and once you fall into it, there's no way out. Something strange that even someone as skilled as Theta couldn't sense at all. Saridnik is fixated on improving the speed of his Zetsu. If Zetsu is what activates his ability, then it would make sense that it's already started. It's true, I can't sense anything at all. How the hell can he be unfazed to go up against Benjamin using an unfinished technique he's still working on and expect to put up a fight? Either he's insane or he's incredibly confident in himself and his ability. Well, I guess it's probably both. But thanks to that, I'll be able to witness the showdown between the two of you and even have a shot of analyzing your ability. I'll expose your ability, no matter what, for Theta's sake. So now we know Salkov is in Theta's corner, and while he's saying he's going to help out and do what Saridnik says, he probably is, but he's doing it for his own gain of being able to see how this works. Right in that moment, Benjamin and his guards break down the door. Benjamin leads in, follow my lead, I'll serve as the front line. Anyone who moves behind me, shoot them on sight. Benjamin moves in, all the guards, everybody begins putting their hands up against the wall. Benjamin approaches one of the guards who has the most nin pouring off of him, and he just, hey, you there, are you a student from room 1014? He says, I am, and then he says, take him away, we're going to need to question him. Benjamin then begins to think that he had heard reports, but to see that somebody had accomplished that much aura within such a short time without any knowledge of nin, Benjamin thinks, I'm going to need to recruit Kurapika as an instructor for my army after all, because honestly, if he can do that quick with these random guys, me and my army, if we're trained by Kurapika, are going to be insane. Saridnik then continues his march forward where Benjamin continues to walk forward as he sees Saridnik in Zetsu with Salkov next to him. Benjamin says, Zetsu, I'm surprised to think that scum like you can also use nin. Should we spar then? And right when he begins to say big brother, Benjamin instantly pulls his gun forward and just shoots into Saridnik. Benjamin says, who gave you permission to speak? I have no time to waste on scum like you. Killed on sight. And that is the end of the chapter. Excuse me. Really good chapter. Like I said, extremely battle heavy. And I'm not going to lie, guys, if there's still any doubts, Saridnik, in my head, is certainly beyond Netero's child who is a prince. If he has one child who is a prince in this contest, it is Saridnik. Is Beyond's child. I am certain of it based on his nin aptitude. Without a doubt, and he looks like a young Netero. If you haven't go back and look at young Netero a couple times, especially in the manga. Stringy hair, same build, same physique. He literally looks a lot like Saridnik. Like, they just look a good bit alike. So, that's where I'm pretty certain that's going to be his son. But obviously, Tsuraynik was using Zetsu. Benjamin even stated this, which means Benjamin's about to, in this next chapter, 417, is about to get dealt with by Tsuraynik. Because Tsuraynik, actually, based on what he said, rather than fighting back right away with Benjamin and, like, you know, using his future side to instead, like, pull up on Benjamin, take his gun, shoot him instead, do whatever he wants, grab, you know, use Salkov's gun, kill Benjamin, whatever. He is instead probably just going to pretend that he is dead, fake his death, and then just wait around and then use this later. Because as long as he stays in Zetsu, he can kind of just keep using his ability, right? He can stay with his ability active and continue to see the future further and further and further. So really, if he were to be in Zetsu for hours, he is going to see hours in the future. Granted, he can only affect those last, I think it's 10 or 12 seconds or something like that. I think it's 10 seconds he can actually affect. But he'll be able to see everything in accordance that's going to happen while he is sleeping before it happens. Or while he's in Zetsu resting, pretending to be dead before it happens. And that's, I think that could give him a pretty advantageous state. If they just think he's dead, nobody checks. They don't go to put him, like, you know, in the burial tomb and find out, oh, his soul's still alive. He's very clearly still alive, right? Nobody's gonna know he's dead if he's just in Zetsu pretending to be dead. They're all gonna think he's dead, and he's gonna be just sitting there plotting, scheming, and literally seeing it all from within his head with his ability. I'm wondering if that's what I think he's doing. I think that's the most likely. There's also a chance he's about to turn and cap Benjamin, but, like, at the same time, or pretend to, like, make it seem like it was one of his guards that did it or something, so that way, Tsuraynik's guard, oh, forgive me, Salkov there, could, you know, do exactly what he had just said and tell everybody exactly what he saw, which is that Benjamin shot Tsuraynik, and somehow Benjamin was also killed by one of his guards at the same time. And that would smoke Benjamin too. I think that'd be really anticlimactic considering we're setting up the TSK-17, Benjamin getting sick, and if he dies of the disease, and after Buddy, who's with him, dies, one of his guards, the one with the Full Metal Alchemist technique, right, that he's going to gain essentially a power boost. Benjamin almost at this point needs to die to become stronger from my understanding. So I don't think Tsuraynik's going to kill him right here. I think he's just going to pretend to be dead and take advantage of the situation. But with that being said, that's the end of the chapter. I'll be honest, I wanted to keep this one short. It's still 17 minutes long, so longer than I figured it was going to be. But I did want to blaze through this about as quick as I can. I'll be getting out another One Piece chapter review probably tomorrow, and then, well, yes, certainly. It'll be out tomorrow, so that'll be Saturday the 8th. And then if the HunterXHunter chapter 417 is out, I'm going to get its review out by Sunday the 9th. So if you guys haven't already, and if you guys are still here, leave a like down on the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below. Let me know what you think is going to be happening in the next chapter. And then subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be uploading, like I said, a One Piece chapter reaction tomorrow, and probably another HunterXHunter One Piece chapter reaction that following day on Sunday. So with that being said, I hope everybody has had a great week. I hope everybody has a great week to come, and I really appreciate you guys. Later. Bye.